There is a rumor doing the rounds, Scott Tilford,
Sweet Jesus.
that Rainbow Six Siege is not going to get another season of content because it is, in fact, going to receive a proper sequel.
9 years later.
10 years later, my friend. Do not get comfortable in thinking time is not accelerating. This comes by way of a report I read over at Insider Gaming, which used the source Frax is winning over on X.com, who is apparently a reliable Rainbow Six leaker within the community. This was also written up on Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit, where a lot of people were chiming in about the validity of this person.
Okay.
And they said that they originally thought that this project called Siege X, aka Siege 10, was going to be the 10th, is a celebration of the 10th year of the game. But in fact, it's actually going to be a full sequel with a major engine overhaul, entirely new visuals, essentially a little bit of a reset on the entire thing, a proper sequel, if you will. And apparently this is going to be announced very, very soon. The date, February 16th, has been floated, which in my head, I kind of try to connect the dots because apparently there's also going to be a Sony State of Play around just a few days before the 16th, so it may or not show up here. That is not referenced in the report. That's my conjecture. So yeah, take this with a very large pinch of salt because the developers have actually said they never really intended or planned to ever make a sequel to Siege, but I personally think it is long overdue.
There's a few things to this. One, the Ubisoft side of things, the fact that the theory was that they were putting their entire global business on Assassin's Creed Shadows, where Siege could provide a way back out. Like Siege is still in the most played charts. I just Googled it again there, and it is still in the Steam charts. It never really left. I mentioned 9 years ago because I think that was when they initially overhauled it. There was like a whole thing where the game was updated a lot 1 year after launch, and that was the version that I think it was Polygon at the time said was their game of the year because it had such a massive groundswell of interest. But that's kind of the thing about its original development. There was the story mode. Viola Davis was initially going to be in it. It seemed like she was stripped out, but the cutscenes were out there initially. That was the version I was more interested in because I grew up playing, Vegas and Vegas 2 and everything. And I've played a fair chunk of Siege, nowhere near as much as you have. But it is interesting when you have a live service game or a platform blow up this much and go for this long, you kind of risk teetering that tower and doing an Overwatch 2 and Overwatch 2 where you end up killing it because I think sometimes it's hard to slap a number on something that is just part of someone's life. Like if it was Fortnite 2, sometimes it just doesn't sit right.
No, I know what you mean. It's I think that is why they have waited so long to properly make any kind of even a soft reset within the game itself to, put a lot of the operators or maps or whatever in the vault and say, we're starting again, we're starting fresh, this is Siege 2.0 or whatever it is, and give it like some kind of formal branding. I know they have flirted with that a few times and said, hey, it's the perfect time to jump on for new players. And I think that's always been true to an extent. But for me, who is a extremely lapsed Siege player at this point, has not played for as much as he did play. It kind of stopped around 2019, 2020. The game, to me, just got like a little bit too bloated. It got away from what I personally wanted it to be. And obviously, what it is now has resonated with so many people. Like you said, it's still one of the most played games in the entire world, but it did get, in my opinion, away from that original pitch from the original trailer that we saw way back when it was, very intent in its presentation. It was going for that kind of military realism. It was going for the destructibility in the environments. It was going for a kind of mil-sim style aesthetic. And now, naturally, as live services do, it's gotten a little bit more wackier as the years have gone on. And the likes of Fortnite and Call of Duty have embraced that kind of crossover appeal or more colorful appeal or what have you. So if I was being selfish, my real hope with a Siege sequel is to kind of hit the reset button on that and go back to those earlier years where it was a little bit more quote-unquote realistic in terms of its aesthetic.
I completely forgot that Rainbow Six Extraction happened.
Yeah.
Actually, it started as Quarantine. Obviously, they renamed it because of the pandemic, but I didn't even touch Extraction. I don't know if you did. But
it was good. It was all right. Well, it was all right.
So I guess that was the last time they went back to the well, but that didn't land on people's radars anywhere near as much as Siege did. And like I said, Siege is still the one that is the most played. So it is just how we're in rarefied air. Like, we've never had a live service game go on this long. Like I said, it's not like they've ever done Fortnite 2. One of the things that I can think of in terms of some something that's been supported for this long as No Man's Sky, which isn't even a live service.
Right.
But that game has received a complete new graphics engine, new lighting engine, so much content put into it. My overall point is that I think you're better off updating, if it's about a new graphics engine or whatever, updating the player base that's already there. I think sometimes it's harder to migrate people over. And I just think of Overwatch 2 and how much of a bomb that was.
I do get that. I'm always conflicted on this because I like I'm a kid who likes jangling keys in front of his face, man. Like I like the new thing. I like that it is and can be its own thing. You know, for as much as I hate that they nuked Warzone 1, literally, I like that Warzone 2.0, even though it was botched in many ways, felt like its own thing and not just a continuation. I know they did roll a lot of those changes back after fan feedback was like, what the hell is this? If you're going to delete the last game, at least, you know, you've got to have parity in some way.
Right.
But I would like to think that both the original Rainbow Six Siege and an actual sequel, if it does happen, could even maybe live side by side. Like I said, they could be so different aesthetically. You could continue the trajectory that current Siege is on and the way it has developed over the past few years, and then also offer this kind of alternate experience, this fresh experience that changes up some of the core fundamentals, maybe adds in a story mode or whatever, and is something that is properly different from the Siege that we have known and loved for the past 10 years. I don't know. That would be what I would want to see.
Like I said, I think of it through the Ubisoft lens. Like, they need to win. They've got Just Dance ticking over. It's fine. Everyone's kind of here and there on Assassin's Creed. I've dropped right off the excitement levels for Shadows. The more I've seen of it, the less I've cared. The more I've seen the gameplay, I've been like, it looks like more of the same. I'll still clearly pick it up because I love Japan. But it is one of those things where, you know, the general conversation around Ubisoft is that they are doomed or whatever unless they can put something out that's going to be a big moneymaker. And in regards to Rainbow Six and the current climate and everything else, I don't know if they ever get back to something that focuses on story. Like, I feel like when people think of Rainbow Six, they think of Vegas 1 and 2 and the glory, the Halcyon 360 days. I mean, I played the original back on the PS1 and could barely figure it out. But the ones that I fell in love with were the Vegas games. And so it is interesting, like, thinking back on it's been so long since the last one in terms of like a main numbered sequel or whatever. And even though we did Extraction in 2022, if you're going to be like, what's the future of Rainbow Six? I would also love a foot in the story side of things or the single player side of things, which they were doing a bit of back when Siege was first being developed. But
exactly.
I don't know.
There's a way to do it, I think.
Maybe.
Double down on that destruction tech. I know I said that when we were talking about Battlefield, but please give me that original trailer and make it like,
is that not in Siege at all?
No, it is. It's just like it's one of those classics of E3, not even bait and switches, exaggerations, let's say. It did not play like that or necessarily look exactly like that. Obviously, you could still have the destruction. It was very much influenced of the same kind of DNA as that launch trailer, but like I think with modern hardware you could more accurately make the game experience one-to-one with what they showed off. Maybe
it's if this is all true and everything, I mean, there's like multiple outlets mentioning it and everything. It's crazy how under the radar this has gone.
Yeah,
because especially alongside all the doom and gloom stuff surrounding Ubisoft and just how much they haven't been able to bring things together. Even the report that I put together talking to members of staff all mentioned how, you know, Yves Guillemot and Ubisoft's leadership can't decide what the hell they're focusing on, which I guess the counterpoint to that would imply that this is definitely a live service game and it's always all systems go with that, and we're going to monetize it as much as possible.
That's the thing, right? If they do make a sequel, like they might have a single player component, but like you said, it's still so played and people are still pumping money into season passes. Like, it's their one successful live service essentially, Ubisoft's. So I don't think they'd want to, I don't know, like risk not having it in a future game.